So your job does not offer a 401k match. So is it worth it to even contribute to the 401k? Should you go to an IRA instead? And what's a 401k match to even begin with? Let's go ahead and break it down. So first, I'm going to start off with the answer to the question. Yes, if they don't offer a match, there's a 98% chance you should still put money into the 401k. I'm going to give you the reason as to why there is a 2% exception. But first, what is a 401k match for those that may not know? A 401k match is you put in money and your employer puts in a percentage of that money too. In some cases, they will match up to 4% of your salary. You put in 4%, they put in 4%. Therefore, you have put in 8% of your entire salary and you can get real rich real quick. Well, not real quick, but over time, because that is free money. Now, there are some risks with that, meaning if you leave early, they can take a portion of the money that they put in there. This is called vesting, and they usually have a vesting schedule. If you stay, in some cases, 2, 3, 4 years, you can take it all, right? But you do want to check out your employer for all the ins and outs for the vesting schedule. But we're talking about people who are not getting a match, and whether or not it even makes sense. Can they do something else? Here is the thing, okay? If you do not get a match, it still makes sense. It can still make sense for you to still invest in that 401k. And the main reason is this. Right now in 2024, and these limits do change every year, okay? So make sure you're up to date here. The 401k, you can put in $23,000 per year. And when you turn 50, and every year after that, you can put in an additional $7,500. Okay, so $23,000 for everybody, and then once you turn 50, you got $23,000 plus another $7,500 that you can put into the 401k every single year. Now, that is a whole lot more money than just $7,000 because that is the limit that you can put into an IRA right now. So if I am somebody who wants to invest 12 to 15% of their salary, which is what I've always been saying it for years, and all the books I've written, I keep telling people 12 to 15% is what you should be putting in there. Well, here's the thing. Let's say you make $75,000, 12% of that is about $9,000. Okay, so if I say, no, you guys are not giving me a match, I'm only going to do my IRA, you're leaving $2,000 on the table because the limit is 7. That leaves you with $2,000 doing what? Just out there in the wild, not doing what it should be doing. And every single year you do that, that $2,000 you should have been investing, making 7, 8, 9% is not going to get you where you should be when that could have been inside a 401k and still making money. So what are the risks here? Like, what if is it safer to just invest in an IRA instead? What's the difference here? Well, the return here in most cases is going to be nearly identical. For some reason, I don't know why, a lot of people think, well, you're just going to make more money inside the IRA. Or if you do a Roth IRA, you're just going to make more money. Remember, there is a thing called a Roth 401k, and there are employers that offer this too. And in most cases right now, if they offer you a 401k, they usually have a Roth 401k option too. So it doesn't make sense to say, oh, they don't offer a match, let me just do a Roth IRA anyway. Well, the limit is the same. So if I can put in $23,000 to a Roth 401k, I would still do that versus just $7,000 in a Roth IRA. Okay, so there's that. Now, the other thing is, what are you investing inside of these accounts? Because just putting money in there is not going to be good enough. Okay, you have to go in, put the money, and then say, go buy this thing, go buy this investment. Now, all of us should be investing in some index fund. I've talked about what index funds are. I have videos about what index funds are if you don't know. Basically, they buy the entire stock market, which is, I would say, a great thing. Warren Buffett, one of the top 5 richest people in the world, says, hey, put all my money in index funds when I'm gone, okay? Index funds, on average, get you about 7% per year. That's after inflation and all that kind of stuff. And they are solid. Last year, made you almost 20%. Okay, now here's the thing. Whether it is in a traditional IRA or a 401k, if it is an index fund that invests in, let's say, the S&P 500, the largest 500 companies in the US, the return is going to be the same. The risk is going to be the same. Whether it is a stock market crash or the market is up like it is now, you're going to make the exact same amount of money. So it's not going to behoove you or protect you to go for one over the other, except that, again, I can put in more and invest more and have more compounding interest inside of the 401k when I don't have that match. Okay, now if I have the match, it's an absolute. We're going with the 401k. Okay, that's obvious because I'm getting basically double. I'm getting free money over there to a degree. Okay, I ain't getting no free money inside of the IRA. I also want to tell you, yes, you can do both. Yes, you can do both. However, again, it makes more sense if I have the ability or I have the extra money to do both. So if I only get $1,000, does it really make sense to put $500 in a 401k and then $500 in an IRA and then get the exact same return? I don't think so. You just splitting stuff up just for the sake of splitting it up. But again, if I'm doing that 12% of my salary, I can only do that in one place. Right, I can only do that in one place, and that is the 401k. But again, that also depends on what your salary is. So definitely do the math for where you are. Now, what happens if you leave? What if I don't like this job anymore? What if I do want to leave? Well, if I put it in the 401k, it doesn't go with me. I just leave, and then they get to keep the money. That ain't true. You can take your money. The money that you put into the 401k is yours, and you can take it wherever you want to go. Now, here's the thing. You want to do what is called a rollover. That is a transfer that is not taxable. This is not a taxable event where it comes from the 401k into an IRA. If you need help doing this or you don't, want to go through the whole complicated process, it's a very easy way to do it. It is called Capitalize, one of my favorite apps. The link to that is in the description below, and it is extremely easy. They do it within about 3 to 4 days. I mean, it's the easiest process I've ever done when I have had to move from job A to job B. So yeah, you can move it with you. You can put it inside an IRA and continue investing because remember, you can still do both. Should you do that? I would say again, 99% of us should. The reason why I like doing so is because one, it keeps all of my stuff together. An average person can have like 12 to 15 jobs through their lifetime. Do you really want to remember all those 401k passwords? You don't. And it's hard to manage all of those. So putting them into one bucket, an IRA in this case, is going to be something that's going to be a little bit more manageable, and you can still invest as you go through. Once you leave, you can't invest in that 401k anymore. But if you roll it over, you can. So that is something that you may want to consider as well. All right, next one is, well, what if I just don't open the 401k and I just do a Roth instead? Remember, again, there is a Roth 401k that you can open. That is an option in most cases. So just saying no, they don't offer a match, I'm just going to do something else and it's a Roth over here, doesn't really negate the impact. Okay, so that is something that you do want to pay attention to. What is that 2% exception though? What is the, hey, you might want to consider this other thing? Well, that is in a situation where your 401k is charging some exorbitant fees. That is something where you might want to pause and see what is actually going on here. But before you do that, how do you know exactly what the fees are and what is a high fee or a low fee and what is actually normal? There is a tool and a free resource that I do want to show you. Before I do, I'm gonna give you another free resource, and that is how to start investing and to give you your first 6-figure investing plan. So I'll show you everything you need to know about investing, including your 401k and how it can help you to reach your first 6 figures. That whole workshop is entirely free. The link is right here. It's also in the bio. All right, now, what is the tool and how do we do that? That is called the FINRA Fund Analyzer. FINRA is another government acronym. They are in the financial space, but what they do have, and you'll see this on the screen, a tool where you get to see what these funds cost. What is the average for that type of fund? And it tells you what I like the most is in dollars and cents. It's one thing if somebody tells you this is going to cost you 0.25% per year. All right, bro, just how many dollars? Just tell me how many dollars am I paying you every single year for this particular fund. But if I'm going through my 401k and I start to notice like, hey, this fund is twice what the average is, this fund is 4 times what the average is, then that's something I'm going to, kind of say, hey, look, y'all not offering me a match and you charging me high fees. We need to figure something out here and decide what's going to make sense and what is not going to make sense. Now, also remember, if something is a bit higher, you still want to have context here. So let's say a regular fund is going to charge you $1 a year. Okay, that's not a lot. Another fund is going to charge you $2 a year. Now that's double, but $2 a year, and I'm investing $23,000. Okay, it's still not going to really shake me up that much. Also, notice again, if I can invest $9, $10, $15,000 in one place, and I can only do seven somewhere else, really see how those fees do factor in, and whether or not it is worth you making that change, and whether or not it's worth you doing one option over another. So you do want to keep everything in context. I am also going to give you one very important tip. One very important tip for the people who are still here, because I know some of y'all be getting your tips in the very beginning and y'all be leaving the video, okay? This is why you don't want to do that. If your employer does not offer a 401k match, in most cases, for a good 401k match is anywhere between 3 to about 4, sometimes 5% in a really good situation. Well, they don't offer that. If you just got the job or you are considering that job offer, this could be an opportunity for you to negotiate that into your salary and get an additional bump of 3, 4, or 5% and say, look, y'all aren't going to give me a 401k match. Everybody else in this industry does. How close, and this is why I want you to word it this way, how close can you get me to another 4% to make up for not having that match? The reason why you want to say how close can you get me to X, Y, and Z is because it's not a yes or no question. We are programmed to say no. Okay, so if I ask you how close can you get me, then I'm like, okay, 2% raise or something like that. So that is something that you do want to consider if they do not offer you a match. But yes, it absolutely still makes sense 98% of the time to continue to invest. You're still going to get the same tax benefits. Your returns, in most cases, if you're investing in an index fund, it's still going to be the same. Your risks are still going to be the same in an IRA or a 401k, whether it's a Roth or not. So yes, it still makes sense. Anybody that's telling you to check out annuities or to look at these fancy insurance policies and all this kind of stuff, please don't do it. It's going to be way more expensive than you think, and those usually don't end up in the investor's favor, but it does help the person that is selling you those policies. So be careful of that as well. The last thing that I'll leave you with is there are a few funds and ETFs, exchange traded funds, that can help you to beat the market, and I've collected about 7 of them. If you want to know what those are, you want to check out this video right here.